Getting back to this tricky problem, section 5.223T, technology can be used even more efficiently if we use the list operator on the TI graphing calculator in conjunction with the binompdf functionality. Also, we can use Microsoft Excel. I'm going to show you both. So if we go to the graphing calculator, we found each of those individual binomial probability distributions for 9, 10, 11, and 12 individually by doing it by hand with using the NCX functionality and the exponentiation functionality on our calculator, or we just use the binompdf. If I push stat and edit, I have a open list where I can put all the possible X values when 12 people are selected. It could be that not a single person out of the 12 used their smartphone during a meeting or a class. I want to put all the values 0 through 12. Be careful. That means that the first row in this list is row 1, and so list 1, 1 means the first item in this list, which is a 0. So if I put all the possible numbers 0 through 12 here, and this is one way to do it, just doing it by hand. Notice that when I get to this last row, that is in row 13. So if I want to find the probability that 9 or 10 or 11 or a 12 are in there, if I can put the probabilities here in list 2, I need to find the value in the next list over to the right, probability of 9 of the 12, that's going to be in row 10 because the first row starts with a 0. So notice I'm going to come up here to list 2, and I have to be in the header for list 2 so that when I push enter, now there's a flashing cursor down here in the bottom. If I now push second vars to get into this distribution menu and scroll down to or type alpha A, I'm now in the binompdf function. And yes, we were using 12 for n and 0.62 for the trails before, but now I'm using a list operator, and all the x values 0 through 12 are in list 1. So if I scroll down and change that 11 to L1, you have to push the second button and 1 to access this L1. Now when I paste that, it's going to paste it into the rule for finding all the values in list 2 based on those 13 values 0 through 12 in list 1. So it finds all those values. If we scroll down, this is the probability of 9 of the 12 using their cell phone. But be aware, that's L2 of 10 because it's in the 10th row of this list. And the probability of 10 is in the 11th row, and the probability of 11 out of the 12 is in the 12th row, and the probability of 12 out of the 12 is in the 13th row. Basically, if I want to add up that value plus that value plus that value plus that value, because they're in the 10th, 11th, and 12th and 13th rows respectively, I would go back to my home screen and find list 2 of 10. If I push second 2, it pastes L2 because of the L2 that's in blue above 2. And this is, notice the L2 of 10, that's not the probability of 10. That was the probability we found of 9 of the 12. So I need to take list 2 of 10, which means the probability that 9 of the 12 use their cell phone, add to that list 2 of 11. That's the probability that, remember in the 11th row, that was for the probability that 10 of the 12. Remember the first row was where x was 0. So that's why there's an offset of these domain values. In list 11, in the 11th row, L2 of 11 is finding the probability that 10 of them use their cell phones. So L2 of 12 is the probability that 11 of the 12 use them. And lastly, list 2 of 13, that means the probability in the 13th row, which was for all 12 of the 12. When I add that up, I get an even more accurate value, but if I round that to 4 decimals, you'll see the 6 rounds the 3 up to a 4, and it would still be the 0.2704 value we got before. Another way to do this is in Excel. So now I'm switching over to an Excel file, and I'm going to put a set header for X and P of X for these X values and probabilities. I'm going to blow this up a little bit bigger for you so you can see this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to center that, maybe make it bold. and I'm going to start typing the values 0 through 12, but I only need 0, 1, and 2. I'm also just going to center these, the whole column, so it's clear. If I select those 3 values and I drag down, you'll notice if I go down to that little number in the box, it's 12, it will automatically count all the values 0 through 12. If I now type in cell F5 and now come up to the equation editor and push equals sign, now I'm going to start typing the letters of binomial, B-I-N, and you'll notice that binom.dist is the function I showed you in class. If I double click on that, it'll automatically fill the rest of the items I need, and I have to put, first of all, the number of successes, which is going to be these numbers 0 through 12. So the first option is here. Option 0 is in column E, row 5. The next thing I want are the trials, which is 12. They have to be separated by commas. And the last item needed is the probability success, which was 62%. And we put it in decimal form, 0.62. If I push enter, oh, that's right, I have to still include a comma here to say if I want it to be the probability mass function or cumulative. We do not want cumulative, we want the binomial PDF. So we can either tap on false or type it out. So when you push enter, that's a really small number in scientific notation. That would mean to move the decimal here to the left 6 places, so it's almost 0. But if I drag down by cell referencing, it's finding all of those values. Notice these are the 4 values that we added up before. So I can do a summation underneath here, but if I click on that cell and I click the auto sum feature, it's going to ask to add up all of those values. Instead, I just want to add up the values that I've highlighted in yellow. You can also type SUM for the sum command and double click on it so it'll add the parenthesis, and just drag over that array of those 4 values and it will add it up. And you'll notice that this value, which I'll highlight in orange instead of yellow, is that same 0.27036, which with 4 decimal accuracy would be 0.2704. We can use the decimal decrease functionality here to make it rounded for us. So that would be the same answer using technology with Excel. I hope this was helpful.